right, here we go. Your Wednesday, May 10th, Plant Slant. The headlines, all the best headlines from around the plant-based world, brought to you by the Plant-Based Morning Show, which is brought to you by lovecompliment.com. Rachael Ray, everyone's favorite celebrity chef, certainly one of mine, has just joined Meati's Culinary Collective. You know what cookbook author hasn't joined Meati's Culinary Collective? That's Bianca Phillips, our reader, who is a cookbook author and puked for several hours after eating Meati steak, whole cut, quote unquote steak. Carne asada, I think, was the flavor. Meati, of course, made from mycelium, which is the fast-growing root system of mushrooms, says Veg News. Rachael Ray, for Meati, has created 10 recipes along with tips, cooking videos, and she wants to showcase that that Meati is sustainable and cruelty-free alternative to animal-derived protein. This is cool to me. There's no one bigger as far as mainstream cooking goes than Rachael Ray.
And we want
that.
Her.
Yeah, we want that mainstream adoption. Rachael Ray is how I began cooking. My first cookbook that I really cooked a lot out of was a Rachael Ray book in the early days, pre-vegetarian days, and I really came to enjoy those recipes. And then I started watching her on TV a little bit, not for too much, but anyway. She's also, earlier we reported a few months ago that she has joined New York City's first ever Chef's Council, which is developing plant-based recipes for the school system there. And as we know, they're doing Meatless Mondays and even some Meatless Fridays, I think. So this is great.
In that same report, didn't she say that she was mostly plant-based or something like that? And the more you dug, the less plant-based she actually
sounds familiar.
Seemed, but yeah. But this Meati picture here of the rice and looks like rice and steak and broccoli with barbecue sauce maybe or something like that I have thrown up. That looks pretty good.
I mean, it is good. Yeah, I didn't like the chicken that much, but the steak, it was delicious and doesn't have fat. I just can't ever get past that part, that it was that good without fat. So Meati has some potential. Speaking of whole cut vegan meats, legendary actor turned investor Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, Doug, has backed vegan steak brand Chunk Foods. Chunk, you may recall, is the one that's being served in New York City restaurants like Coletta, which I think is very famous, Anixi, and The Butcher's Daughter. I don't know those. And they've got a national rollout across the U.S. planned for later this year. So I'll be really excited about that. It's another one of those whole cut steaks. That one I do not believe is from mycoprotein, the mushroom roots. This one says uses fermentation technology to create whole cut meat alternatives. I still haven't tried a precision fermented piece of plant-based meat. That's one technology that I've only had the dairy, alternatives from.
Right. What are they fermenting?
I don't know. That's a great question. I would imagine it's fava bean stuff or peas or some sort of legume. They're probably fermenting that. I don't know what's in Chunk Foods' thing, but I'd be really curious to try. The reviews are good about that one, and I don't know. It's really good when it comes.
Bring it on.
So they bagged a staggering $15 million in its latest funding round. Doug, can you name one Robert Downey Jr. movie? I don't think I can.
I cannot.
Didn't somebody cancel him? Well, didn't the whole world cancel him for something at some point? He just has the look of a guy who's kind of sleazy, and I think I remember us saying yeah, we knew all along he was a bad dude.
Iron Man. Is he an Iron Man?
Oh, Iron Man.
Is he Iron Man?
He's Tony Stark. Yeah.
Okay. Sherlock Holmes. Sure, I've seen that one. Avengers Endgame. I've never seen that.
Well, it's Iron Man again, right? Avengers is same thing. Yeah.
Kate Rivercat says less than zero. He's in Tropic Thunder, apparently. Is
that the Will Ferrell movie? The basketball one?
It's the Ben Stiller movie.
So it's a Will Ferrell movie. Don't they do a
basketball one? No, it's not basketball, is it?
I think Tropic Thunder is that little basketball team. Maybe I'm
wrong. No. They're like no, you're way off.
It's not a Will. It's a Jack Black, Tom Cruise. What's the Will Ferrell movie where he's that amateur basketball team? Someone tell us, please. All right, well, I'm not going to dilly-dally on that point anymore, as much as I might like to. Whenever I think of Tony Stark, I have to tell this story that my son, I used to read a lot of Tony Robbins books, and my son, when he was 2, 3, like a lot of kids that age, maybe up to 4, got really into the Marvel stuff, the Iron Man, and somehow he got it in his head that the guy inside of Iron Man was Tony Robbins, not Tony Stark. And I just thought it was the best thing ever. I just perpetuated that for as long as I possibly could, shielded him from the truth, and just let him keep thinking Tony Robbins was inside of Iron Man. And it's a great image.
That is hilarious.
Someone says weird science for RDJ. That's an old movie. I didn't realize he was even acting back then. Okay. Enough of that. On to the next. On to the academic, the legal stuff, Doug, which is perfect. Good thing we have a local politician here as one of our co-hosts. What about that job? You able to still keep that up among this recent work stuff? Or are you shirking on that too?
I'm shirking. Of course I am. I'm dedicated to all of my work, Matt. I'm giving it all first, of my right? No, well, yes, everybody first. Everybody first.
Okay, everybody first. Like that. So everyone's the priority.
Everybody but me, yeah. And you, I guess, in the show, yeah.
All right. Well, here's some bad news related to and the audience. Here's bad news related to plant-based dairy, which is what our next topic is going to be about as well. This is from Europe, first of all. The EU, or the European Parliament, has voted not to offer plant-based milks in the schools over there. I don't what else to say. They voted not to do it. ProVeg, of course, steps in, says this is a missed opportunity. They said they're very disappointed by the outcome of this vote. But apparently it's not like a final vote. It's just right now they're not. And I guess at some point it'll happen again. In March, they also failed to support change in spite of the fact that 72% of participants in a public consultation said they were in favor of funding milk alternatives in school. When it came down to brass tacks, time to vote, they didn't do it. So not good. I'm reminded now of the UN report we read last week, which really declared more or less without what's the word, qualification really, that dairy was a good food. Through all stages of life, dairy a health food. It was a huge study, meta-analysis of 500 other studies, not just on dairy, on all kinds of animal products, I think terrestrial animal products, to determine the health. And it wasn't like across the board biased in favor of animal products. It said some stuff like, meat, red meat, not good in large amounts, above some amount per day, not good above almost any amount of processed meats. So like it was anti some meats. In general, also kind of anti-vegan diet, said you really need to be careful and get some of these nutrients that animal products give you if you choose to avoid all animal products. But when it came to dairy, and I think eggs, they said all life stages, the data shows makes you healthier. So in light of that, if we have to not even view this as a health decision, because I don't think people are convinced at all that dairy is not a health food. It's maybe purely an environmental move, and somehow that just seems easier for people to vote against. I don't know why. Maybe just kick the can down the road. So maybe they didn't think this was that big of a deal as we, who don't drink dairy for ethical reasons and health reasons, some of us, maybe we think this is a big deal for them. Yeah, but maybe for them, when you remove some of those things and you're just talking about the environment, maybe it's just not that big a deal. Let's say you, Black Mountain Town, whatever you are.
I mean, it is... It is disappointing. I mean, it just seems like, I don't know. It's just on climate change in particular. It's just everybody loves to talk. No one loves to take action because those actions are hard. They're difficult, and they need to be large scale and come down from the government. So from large governments, not local governments. And this, so it does seem like a missed opportunity.
There you have it, missed opportunity. All right, one more, and then we got to the feature story, which we'll touch on in this weather report or this plant slant, and then we'll get to the larger discussion. This one, though, unrelated. Dutch biotech company Mosa Meat opened a new 2,700 square meter facility on Monday, and it's part of their campus, which campus is an acronym, Doug. You wouldn't know it, but it is Center for Advanced Meat Production, Upscaling, and Sustainability. That's why they have a campus with 4 facilities on it now. Total footprint 7,300 square meters. And if a meter is 3 feet, then I think we have to multiply this by 9 to get the square footage, and that would put us around 65,000 square feet. That's a lot of square feet, making it the largest.
I mean, why do they need the acronym? Why can't they? I mean, that is a campus. There's 4 facilities.
Right. Who said we gotta?
Like, why do you have to rename it? Anyway,
maybe so that they could write it vertically on a chart and have like the word. I don't know. Anyway, they've developed a cell feed without fetal bovine serum, which is very important. That was one of the ethical hangups here because that's hard to get, or at least it's cruel to get. The animal has to suffer and die, I think, to get bovine serum. So they're, very much cruelty-free, almost, except for the taking of the stem cells, obviously, what you got to do, but it's apparently not that awful of a process. It's just a needle in an animal. And they say they can make up to hundreds of thousands of cultivated hamburgers per year from this facility. They don't yet have regulatory approval to do it in Singapore, but that's where they're planning to go. Singapore, of course, has approved several other companies to sell their plant chickens, at least. I don't know about plant ground beef yet. Or I shouldn't say plant. I should say cultivated chicken. That's being sold and eaten in Singapore. I don't know about beef, but it's in the works. So they're planning on it. Obviously, there's a lot of investment here, including by Leo DiCaprio. We got a star-studded plant slant
really?
today.
Yeah.
Should we name Leo DiCaprio movies? I can do a few of those. I'm not going to do that though.
Titanic.
That was the first one I got. Anyway,
Catch me if you can.
Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street, I think.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet. I got some old ones.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Basketball Diaries. All right. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? That's really old. All right. And finally, last bit of news here. In the first lawsuit of its kind, that's why we made this the court show. LA high school student Marielle Williamson suing her school district and the USDA with the help of PCRM, who I didn't know got involved in lawsuits. That's Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. You see a lot of science, pro-vegan science coming out of Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, so much so that I always kind of a little bit take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, but it's from them, so they're not going to publish something that's anti the movement. So we just take it for what it is. But they're apparently helping with this legal case, and the problem here is that Marielle says that her school and the USDA are violating her First Amendment right to share information at school about alternatives to cow's milk and the health concerns about dairy consumption. So that's the story.